All right, I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes. I don't know how that's going to happen because I normally teach this over so many lessons. Okay, so recap. So trends, this is H2.1, trends influence designers. So they influence designers to develop new products that meet the evolving market needs. So we've got to remember that as society, we change, we evolve, we're into different things. Things happen in the world, and because things happen, then we need new stuff to be created, and changing nature of work and da da da. Anyway, so these trends, these are the trends that then influence design to happen. Like I said in the last video, there are 5 of them, and there's lots of things that come under these 5 trends. Now, social is the one that has all these babies, and this is where I said, like, knowing these words, it's really improving your tier 3 language and going to help you show lots of terminology in your responses. So we're going to start with social and her babies. Starting with hedonism. Okay, hedonism, this is like pretty much our whole lives. So products that are influenced by hedonism are those that aren't essential for our lives, but that we like really, really want them. They stimulate our pleasure senses. They make us really believe that we need them. And then after a while, we genuinely like do believe we need them. Like, and this creates repeat purchasing habits. So like technically, when we first started getting like mobile phones, we didn't need it to have all these extra features, but we got used to it. We got used to them having games. My phone used to have Snake, and the idea of upgrading to a phone that didn't have a game on it that was as good as or better than Snake, although like Snake is still literally the ultimate for me. Anyway, so yeah, we don't really need this. This would do, but no, we need this because, like, really, do we need to have a camera around with us 24 hours a day? Like, do we need to constantly be taking photos? No. Society survived for hundreds and hundreds of years without taking photos of every single detail of their lives. But now we believe we need to take photos of every detail of our lives, and it's just become second nature, and so now we need it. Same with, like, cars. Okay, let's be real. No one actually needs a douchey car. It's hedonistic to want it. And it also says something about you as a member of society. Hedonism really prompts the upper class to do more purchasing as well. Anyway, we'll go into that in a minute. This is where it gets important. So you need to be able to link hedonism with the economy, or what I'm trying to say is if you get a question about the economy or economic influences or anything like that, or factors affecting success, economic, etc., you can always throw in the word hedonism because hedonistic products rely on a strong economy when they're released. If the economy is not strong and people don't have high disposable income, they're not going to want to buy some new flashy fancy thing that's just come on the market. So I need to have already paid off my bills, paid my rent, bought my food, clothes, etc. And then after that, I still have to have a decent sum that's my play money, my disposable income, that I can be like, yeah, I'm going to buy AirPods and make my life rely on these things now. But yeah, society won't make the jump if you don't have the money, and we saw that with the Dvorak keyboard in the 1930s. It was a better design, but no one bought it because it was during the Great Depression. No one had disposable income. They weren't going to buy the new product. The interesting thing about hedonism, as I said before, is that we do get hooked on it, and then we do. It doesn't matter what happens to our financial situation after that. The country could go into a recession, whatever, or we could lose our jobs, and we have no money. We're still going to likely be repeat customers of certain hedonistic products because we're hooked. So, for example, like I know that I would probably just go straight up to Miranda if my straightener broke, and I'll just buy another one because, yeah, yeah. Same with phones. Patriotism. I love patriotism. So this is all about Aussie pride, Aussie, 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 or come on, Aussie, come on. Oh, my laptop's falling. These are products that trigger our desire to support local and homegrown. Now, we're not as patriotic as America is, but we do still have a sense of Aussie pride. And so these are products and brands in particular that use that to their advantage and use that for commercial success. So if we look at Weet-Bix, Weet-Bix ads don't tell you about high fiber or something about whatever and the nutrients, or no, they just tell you over and over and over, Aussie kids, Weet-Bix kids, Aussie kids, are Weet-Bix kids, and they show scenes of playing cricket in the backyard. They show scenes of nippers, being in nippers and playing netball. And so it's basically saying, if you're one of these kids, then you're a Weet-Bix kid. And that's why you should buy Weet-Bix. That's all. Same with tradie underwear. The fact they're even called tradie underwear, that's just automatically being like, yeah, that's an Aussie thing. Like, Aussies love tradies. Tradies get the ladies. It's really appealing to our Aussie way of the way that we speak and our idioms. And their whole ad is like really over exaggerated Australian idioms. Like, I don't know it off by heart, but you know how he's like the snazzy looking tackle box to house your rod and reels, and then something about keep your setup intact. Movement, no. Secure, yes. Something and they're easy on the twig and berries. Anyway, you get the gist. It's all about the Aussiest undies ever. Bondi Sands, Harbour Bridge, Bondi Beach, the Australian tan. A lot of girls are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to definitely go for that. I'm going to trust that more than these other brands because I don't know where they've come from. But this is Australian, and I know Australian's good, and I trust Australian stuff. The Australian made symbol also can help us with that as well. Qantas Spirit of Australia, I still call Australia home. It's all about, instead of trying to compete with brands on quality, cost, features, functional qualities or anything like that, they're just basically saying to you, if you're Australian, you should want this. And it often works. So that's patriotism influences. Multiculturalism, all about our multicultural society. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage, let us all combine to advance Australia fair. We are a multicultural country. That does not mean forced assimilation. That does not mean the bogan idea of, oh, we let you come here, but you can come here, but you have to become what I think is a true Aussie. Otherwise, you can go back to where you came from. No, that's forced assimilation. They do not have to come here and give up their religion, give up their language, give up their norms, their traditions, their customs, their mentality, their way of life. No. Multiculturalism is a bit like, come on, they can't just go back to where they came from. Look at that. That's Syria right now. It's all about, based on the idea that we are enriched by having different cultures. Society is enriched by preserving, respecting, and encouraging cultural diversity. People should retain features of their traditions, and this boosts design. So, instructions may need to be written in multiple languages. Our instructions of TVs and stuff. We've got the English page, we've got a French page, we've got an Arabic page, we've got Mandarin page with the Chinese. We've got all the languages in there. You go to another country, another European country, and they're not going to have that because they don't have to, because they're not a multicultural country. But we make sure that we have accessibility for the different languages that exist here. In the workplace, our safety instructions have both graphical, colour, and written, so that if you can't read the writing, you kind of get the gist and you can get the idea of what you're meant to do by looking at the graphic, because graphics are universal. This is an example of forced assimilation. This is the uniform. If you don't like it, go back to your own country. But if we look at what actually has happened in the last sort of 10 years or so, with huge migration because of unrest in the Middle East, we have seen a lot of the schools in Sydney change and redesign their school uniform to provide maxi skirt options, long sleeve options, because it's a need. The migration created this trend of a requirement for religious adaptations to clothing, and here we go. That's Beverly Hills Girls High. I mean, we don't see this in the Shire because we're very in a bubble, but this is so many schools. Here's Buron Girls. My grandma used to work there as a teacher. It wouldn't have looked like that then, but that's what I mean. Just society changes, and design has to change and evolve with society. I think that might be Liverpool Girls. So yeah, many schools in Australia, particularly Sydney, have floor-length skirt and long-sleeve shirt versions of the school girls' uniform to cater for Islamic dress requirements. The walk and don't walk thing, that's still in America. We don't have that. We have the little man, because the little man is universal. You know when it's time to walk and you know when it's time to stop. If you can't read, then that's not going to be very helpful, is it? Also, adding in another aspect to that is that we also have the beeping, whereas in America they often don't have the beeping. So you might stand, if you're blind, you're going to stand there and never know when to cross because you can't hear the beeping and you can't see the man. There is no beeping and you can't see the man. And we also have, if you touch the thing that you press, it like vibrates when it's time to cross. So if you're deaf, you can also feel when it's time. It's just making, it's design that has been created so that minority groups can all access the same thing equally and not have to have someone with them to tell them what to do or help them across. A blind person can just do things on their own if it's beeping. A deaf person can cross the road on their own if they can feel it. So yeah, that links to egalitarianism, which is design that's inspired and influenced by minority groups, but we'll look at that in a second. The burkini, though, going back to multiculturalism, is a perfect case study. I would all remember that one because what's interesting about the burkini is it's not It's not a design for the Middle East. It's not for Lebanon. It's not for Saudi Arabia. It's for Australia. It's a design. It's an Australian design from an Australian designer. A girl in Australia who was watching her niece play netball in a big tracksuit, looking like she's going to die of being all sweaty and ridiculous. She's like, no, no, no. Australian girls who are Muslim and have dress requirements should be able to participate in the Australian culture like everyone else without being so disadvantaged. And so she designed the burkini so that her niece can participate in the school swimming carnivals and not be, dragged by a heavy tracksuit. So that she can join nippers or surf lifesaving if she wants to. So she can just participate just like all her friends. The burkini is a hijab-like design, but it's for Australian. It's an Australian design for the Australian lifestyle. So it's a perfect example of multicultural influences in design. Okay, egalitarianism. I just need to see how we're going because I'm very. Oh goodness gracious! I just need to see how we're going with time. 12 minutes. Okay, that's perfect. That's fine. Okay. Egalitarianism is what I was talking about with beeping and stuff. So egalitarianism is all about equal rights and opportunities for everyone. So I like to always think of it as treat people uniquely, not equally. Because if you treat people equally, everyone gets a stool. That's great, but we don't all come to the table equally. We're all different as people, and we all have our different abilities and disabilities. So giving everyone the same stock standard help is not going to work because some people need more help than others. And it's not about giving them, extra. It's like people that get special provisions for exams. It's not about giving them an advantage. It's about giving them what they need so that they have the same level of accessibility as the people who don't need that special provision. It's not about advantage. It's about not letting them have a disadvantage. So, for example, equity is what we want to look at for egalitarianism. Equity is about treating people uniquely, not equally. So, dad doesn't need the stool. Mum needs one stool and the little boy needs two stools. And then everyone can access at the same point. So it's about giving people, designing products and services so that the access point is the same for everyone in society. So no one's disadvantaged from the access. Redesign is often the best solution because, as you can see in this example, no one needs any embarrassing extra supports if they just remove the blocking visual barrier there. So yeah, sometimes redesign is a better option because you don't want to, you want to ensure no further marginalization is created. So for example, we used to have a lift like this at the end of room 1 and room 11 for a girl that was in like 2 or 3 years above me. She was so embarrassed. She was in a wheelchair. She was so embarrassed that she never used it because she was like, I'm not going to be that random girl that goes in that lift and no one else is allowed to use the lift. So that was just too embarrassing for her. Instead, she asked for all her classrooms to just be in an accessible part of the school, which is totally fine. But that created further marginalization. So we want to try to not do that. So yeah,